Yeah, you see the title. I'm not ashamed of it. Let's talk about it. What's up, YouTube? This is Red Devilosa from Red Devilosa Reviews. Happy Halloween, everyone. Before we get started, if you like reviews and opinions on movies, comics, TV shows, and video games, be sure to click the like button and subscribe to the channel for more of that content. The Exorcist is a 1973 film directed by William Friedkin based on the novel by the same name. Friedkin was also known for winning 5 Oscars for The French Connection in 1971. The author of the book, William Peter Blatty, was also the producer and screenplay writer for the film. The book was inspired by a real exorcism case in 1949 in Missouri. It was nominated for 10 Oscars, winning Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Sound. In my other reviews this month, I talked about Perfect Blue, which is a psychological horror anime, The Silence of the Lambs, which was mixed with psychological crime thriller horror, and The Exorcist is supernatural demonic horror. There are some really unnerving scenes in this movie, so I'm not going to go too hard on the visuals as I'm not sure how you, the viewer, will receive it. So I will have gameplay footage of some sort and put photos and GIFs throughout the review. Fun facts about the film. Friedkin was said to be a maniac on set, where he would fire guns or slap actors to get them feeling scared or angry in scenes. This was something that was done in the 70s. There's no way in hell to have people continuing that today, which is a good thing. Upon the release, there were large accounts of nausea and fainting, even to a point where a woman miscarried during showings. Another woman passed out and broke her jaw, suing Warner Brothers in the process. Some theaters had a priest bless people before they went in, other theaters had ambulances at the ready. The movie had controversies if it should have been rated R or rated X. Honestly, I'm really curious about the time of the release to understand what the hell it was like going to theaters with such a strong reaction. Blatty had a lot of issues regarding to Warner Brothers in pretty much everything, as they did not believe the film would be good because they weren't able to get any A-list actors of the time. For Father Lancaster Marin, eyes were on Marlon Brando until it was given to the late Max von Sydow, who passed away at 90 this year. Game of Thrones fans might recognize him as the Three-Eyed Raven. Father Karras had Jack Nicholson, Paul Newman, Gene Hackman, and Al Pacino as potential casting choices until it was given to Jason Miller. While these are great actors to choose from, I really appreciate the lack of star power for the time, as it builds more of a realism to the world as a way to immerse yourself into the movie. Linda Blair had to have bodyguards around her because people thought she was actually possessed. Also, with the film going over budget, injuries, and even the set was on fire, it's a miracle how the film turned out the way it did. My first introduction to Reagan with the whole makeup was from one of those Screamer videos on YouTube. I'm not going to be a dick and put it. Nah, I won't do it. It's one of those videos where it seems all cute and innocent until BAM! Don't worry, you don't need to look away. It's just a poo from The Simpsons. This is a spoiler review for the movie. It's a classic in the genre. Give it a watch for the Halloween spirit. Although the film has a 12-year-old girl being possessed by a demon that can turn her neck like an owl and spit out vomit at will and cause things to fly around in the room, a lot of the film really lies with the characters, in particular Father Damien Karras, played by Jason Miller. There's a bit of a hero's journey. He's the emotional backbone to the movie as he is a priest that is struggling with his faith, which worsens after the death of his mother. So when the actual exorcism takes place, it's not really about the power of Christ compels you.
The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you.
It's a way that solidifies his choices in life, a way of redeeming yourself and accepting your flaws and continuing on in life. I'll come back to the third act. What I like about the first act of the film is that there is a lot of built-up tension of expecting the demon to show up, but then it's not, building up the suspense to the film. The opening minutes have Father Marin looking at an artifact for the ancient demon Pazuzu, as you see it bring a lot of thought to him, as if he's familiar with the demon. The scene in the office where you can hear the clicking of the clock until it stops, and he turns around, it's like you expect some sort of jump scare, due to it being such a crutch in modern horror movies. But no, nothing happens. Another example includes Father Karras jogging and is being watched by Lieutenant Kinderman, played by Lee J. Cobb. It reminds me of the first Jurassic Park, as Steven Spielberg did an excellent job in building up the T-Rex. The lack of music throughout the film is another benefit to the realism and creepiness. as there is a demon presence, but you aren't sure where it is or when it will show, which makes it all more captivating to watch. Quick thing about the theme, I really like it. A lot of horror themes back then with Psycho, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, The Exorcist, to name a few, are very simple in music but very effective. There's a face that flashes throughout the movie, that's Pazuzu. Eileen Dietz was the face of Pazuzu, and Mercedes McCambridge was the voice of him. So if you were ever scared of Pazuzu's face, just think that he was these two women. The main storyline that occurs surrounds around Ellen Burstyn and Linda Blair, who play Chris and Regan McNeil, respectively. Chris is a well-known actress and Regan is her sweet and innocent daughter. As the film progresses, Regan is either suffering from a severe neurological disorder or she is being possessed by an evil spirit. If I'm being honest, the surgery scene was the scene that I tensed up, as she gets a needle in her neck and blood is squirting. Chris, being an atheist, tries to get many physicians and therapists as she could to help her daughter. There's a line by Father Karras' uncle saying that if he was just a regular psychiatrist in New York, he would have been rich and sent his mother to a nicer hospital. It brings up the theme that money does not always solve your problems, as Chris being a famous actress and Father Karras being a priest doesn't make their choices any easier based on their statuses. Once an exorcism is suggested to Chris, and after some contemplation after the death of her director and friend Burke, she goes to Father Karras, which he explains that the practice of exorcism is not common as there needs to be proof of the devil possessing Regan. After witnessing Demon Regan speak backwards, speaking in other voices with the knowledge of Father Karras' mother, and scars on her stomach that says, "Help me," he goes through with the exorcism with the help of Father Marin, who performed one in the past. All three storylines start to converge as the exorcism in the third act takes place. Pazuzu does everything in his power to mess with the priest as they perform the exorcism. Karras is emotionally distraught, as he keeps hearing his mother's voice coming out of Demon Regan. This causes Father Marin to take control for the rest of the exorcism. The final exorcism has Father Marin die from a heart attack, and Father Karras is trying to revive him, to no avail. Demon Regan is at the corner of the bed, and the face and the giggle is just horrifying. Father Karras tries to beat the shit out of Demon Regan with all the rage built up from the deaths of Father Marin and his mother, and Demon Regan trying to manipulate him by speaking in his mother's voice. He asks the demon to take him instead. The spirit moves to him and he commits suicide before he could harm Regan. There's an emotional scene as Regan finally talks in her normal voice to her mother as they cry together, and Father Dyer gives the last rites to Father Karras before he dies. Going back to the suspension thing, the ending with Regan and Father Dyer was one of those "oh shit, oh okay" moments where she just kisses him on the cheek, like you expect her to kill him or something. The ending is really heartwarming with Father Dyer letting Chris keep Father Karras' medallion, and he makes friends with Kinderman. Very simple, very effective. There's no moment of, oh, there's a lingering spirit for the sequel, even though there are actual sequels and prequels, as well as a TV series. I heard The Exorcist 3 is really good. I'll have to give that a watch. That's a video for another day. What surprised me about the movie is the fact that, yes, there is a demonic possession, but there's a lot of heart in the story through each of the characters. Father Karras is just enjoyable to watch, and I really think Jason Miller did an excellent job. Let's talk about the special effects. For the set of Reagan's room, there was a refrigeration that kept the room at -10 degrees Fahrenheit, so the breath was all practical and no CG. Max von Sydow actually had more makeup on him compared to Linda Blair. You might think that he was an old man, but he was actually 44 years old playing a 74-year-old man. The stairs in the film are iconic in and of itself, found in Georgetown, Washington, D.C. Another set of iconic stairs that I can think of off the top of my head are the stairs in Joker, found in the Bronx in New York City, and the steps in Philadelphia from Rocky. If you have seen the photo of Linda Blair in her makeup next to the puppet version of her, the puppet is just something else in terms of terrifying. There are a lot of practical effects, like the use of wirework to make Demon Regan levitate and throw objects around the room. The spider walk scene was originally cut due to the wires being too visible. Once CGI got better, upon re-release, the scene was added back in. I had no idea Ellen Burstyn was Old Murphy in Interstellar, so there's another quick fact. Let me also give credit to Linda Blair, as she was just 14 years old, and she didn't really have a point of reference for playing a possessed girl, and some of the shit that she had to do were fucked up. and probably would not be possible if done during this day and age. Speaking of this day and age, there's a reboot to the film being slated for next year. Why? There's just some classics that you don't need to have a reboot. Jaws, Back to the Future, The Silence of the Lambs, The Exorcist. Besides, knowing 2020, the film is just going to be watered down. But that's a video for another day. Let me know in the comments down below on what you think about The Exorcist. Also, be sure to check out my review on Perfect Blue and The Silence of the Lambs, which will be linked in the description down below. If you like reviews and opinions on movies, comics, TV shows, and video games, support the channel by clicking the like button, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications for future videos. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Peace.